more of a detailed presentation.
All right, so BCD is represented here. We're world-class information systems. For the last, I guess since November, we've been working with the KBM running Presto, and these are our results from running Presto using Kimlight's AS400. Steve Monk is represented here, and I'll be turning it over to Steve when he starts demoing the actual KBM screens. So BCD is a product that takes KBM into a very visual product. KBM for years has been a very strong ERP system in that it was the foundation was very, very strong. It was geared towards Apex, just strong fundamental policies throughout, and I think that's why a lot of companies have stayed with it, is because the backbone of it is very strong. Different ERP systems still can't compete with what KBM does on the manufacturing and side of the product. So BCD Presto takes KBM into a very visual product. So now it has a very strong background with a very strong visual side. So this is what we're going to go over with the product. BCD runs on any type of Explorer, Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox. It can run on an iPod. It can run on an iPhone. So basically, it's endless in what it can do with the KBM product. These are some of the, what I have is a short PowerPoint here. These are some of the components of BCD. These are all browser-type components. You can do SQL statements. You can, record macros. Push-button function keys. Google Maps on your address fields, date selection fields, exporting into Excel or HTML. These are all right from the KBM screens. So you can do images, graphs, charts, spinners, all your spool files with wherever you're at within the KBM menus. You can hit a Control-Alt and P, and it brings up all your spool files, and you click on it, and it pulls it straight into a PDF. It's got strong change management capabilities. It's a very strong product. So I got one more screen to do. The languages are a little bit different. It takes you into more of a JavaScript. It's a younger language. It's mostly all browser-based, very, very strong in what it can do on the browser side. The RPG is still the same. So the core backbone of KBM, Data3, very strong still. It just takes that string of data and displays it in graphical mode, in a browser mode. So I don't know if anybody's played around with HATS before, but HATS was the old IBM product that did try to do the same thing here. The biggest difference between HATS and BCD Presto is that Presto is fast. And most of us got turned away from HATS because of the slowness and what you could do and how you could design in it. So that's the strength of Presto here. It's very fast. It's very visual. It's very easy to set up PowerPoint or a graph or feeding straight into Excel. It takes hardly no time to do this type of data. And I think that's about, let me see here, yeah. And I'm going to take one more screen from Presto. And this is the type of screen that you get in the end. And again, this is running on the iPod or the iPhone, very without changing any RPG programs. Very strong. Any questions so far? Everybody good? Okay. Steve, can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I'm going to give you control.
So, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
And Steve's going to take us through his menu options and the functions that we've done so far.
All right. I'm not sure I have control here.
You're on. Yep. There you go.
Can I display my screen and just run from my system? Because I'm thinking it would be faster if we do it that way.
Is yours slow?
Hang on. Yeah, this is running. I'm not sure, Kevin, if this is. I guess it's working okay. Not too bad.
Okay.
You just have.
Is everybody okay?
I'm good.
Okay. Now notice when Steve put in that customer number, and you know this big training thing with KBM, right? In that you had to hit a specific function key to move that field right. Even though it's got a check, blank fill on it, we don't have to do that with Presto. Any field that has a right adjust blank fill on it, if you just hit the tab or any way to the next field, it automatically moves it right. So you don't have to hit that plus sign all the time. So it alleviates some of the training issues here. That was a big thing, just like PO number, customer number, these fields.
Okay. So you notice this is a customer master maintenance screen we're looking at. On the left side, you see the buttons. Those are the F keys. And what Kevin and his group have done is they have gotten rid of the F24 key, and they've just displayed all those F keys on the left side. So you don't have to do F24 to see the additional function keys. You notice the bottom three just have text in there. We have not created the buttons for those yet, but we will. So within Crane Composites here, what we're doing is we're creating buttons that match our company color scheme. And we've designed a skin that fits that and displays those colors on all the screens.
There's 793 different combinations of function keys. So there's basically 793 keys that you have to design. So at the end of this, we'll have all the function keys. But right now they're designing, and I think they spend I don't know how many seconds on each function key, but they are flying through them.
So, okay, on this screen here, you notice this little map thing here on the left side. If you click that, which I just did, it will open a separate window and go right to Google Maps and take the address from that screen and display it in Google Maps. And I think it's taken a minute to open this. On my screen, when I'm doing it live in my office, it does not take near that long.
Right,
so I think
it's pretty well immediate.
Yeah. So some of this slowness that you're seeing because of the web conference that we're doing.
Yeah.
So see there, it brings up Google Maps. Okay.
There you go.
We go back. Okay, now also I'm going to scroll down here. What they do this.
It's because my screen is small, Steve. It's because
yeah.
Let me increase the size of it.
Is there a way that Kevin, is there a way that I can, instead of taking control of yours, I could just display my screen?
I can change the presenter You want to try to do that? Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. And then, Steve, I'm going to make you the presenter.
Yeah. Okay.
Got it?
Yeah. Now everybody can see my screen?
Hang on. There we go. Can everybody see Steve's screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going back into that same screen. Okay. And now you can see the graphs popping up below here. So what we've done, and we just had World Class. We told them what kind of graphs we wanted to display on certain screens, and they built these. But we just had a rolling 12 months of sales for, and this is information for the customer that's on the screen here. So no matter what customer you go into, it's going to show their data. Sales by year, so you can kind of see the trend data, and then a graph down here for open orders by month. Okay. Let me pop over to, I'm going to go over to 4250, which is a sales order inquiry screen. And
you see that Excel button, guys, in the top right-hand corner as well? That's a download of all the open orders, for example, straight into Excel. So it takes it, when you click on that, that takes all the customer orders straight into Excel. It opens Excel right away.
See down at the bottom here, it opens this, says open. You click that, and it goes right to Excel, and it throws all that data into the status is A on all these. These are all open orders.
You see that, guys?
So
that's
now
a pretty powerful tool.
The users, and you'll see that in a number of places throughout the system. We've got it set up for inventory transactions and other. So during this, I guess that is what I wanted to show you. Okay. Let's go to inventory transaction. Keep an F6 there, but you could just come over here and click F6.
Right.
Oops.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay, so I go in here. Again, I've got the Excel button. Now when I click this Excel button, it's going to export whatever the transactions are that's on this screen here. Not just what's showing, but all the 08 transactions for this part number. So again, I click that, I hit open my inventory transactions, the 08s for that part number. Okay, and down at the bottom we've added a window here, or a chart here, to display by month these transactions. Whatever transactions for that part in that transaction code, that's what gets graphed down here at the bottom. So just visually you can look and see what you've been doing by month. In this case I've got 08, so adjustments. And you can see that we had 1 month here where we had a large amount of adjustments for that part. So that may be something somebody wants to look into. Okay. Couple more
Anybody
places.
have any questions or anything so far? No questions? Go ahead.
Okay, now over in AP, we've got the lookup button here. Instead of doing F2, you can just click lookup. And then this is not showing our hover thing, Kevin. See, we're still working on some of these things. The images aren't showing right here, the buttons and stuff, so we're getting those. But
all the windows, we got to do a hover, where a hover is where you fly over a field and it'll tell you the valid options.
Now here,
all your sub-files.
You see the date pops up a calendar for a date picker. So when you click on a date field, it automatically pops up the. Okay. When I go in here, this is activity, and On the bottom is a graph showing the AP payments by month. This was some AP. So we just present whatever vendor you're in here, it shows that vendor's payments by month.
Button in there too.
There could be. Yep.
Yep. It's real simple to set it up. It literally what you do is you create a SQL statement within Presto, and you tie that SQL statement into, so you say this button executes this SQL statement, and all the Excel buttons are very, there's not a lot to it. I mean, it's minutes. All those graphs, again, it's the same thing. Those graphs are running off of just normal SQL statements, and you tell it, okay, to run this SQL, and it's pretty fast. You can see that when Steve takes the actual menu option, it immediately goes into that option. And as that option is, the green screen is basically, or the browser screen is displaying, and it may take a few seconds for the graph to actually show. But up to this point with Steve's live data, I mean, this thing's been fast. You can see that it's building right now. So in the end, it's going to take a few seconds or whatever, and then it just displays the correct data. So it's not slowing down your screen points at all. So the screen still shows, pops immediately, and then the graph, might take a few more seconds to go, and then displays it. So we can do Excel buttons anywhere, and it's pretty fast to do it.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
My question is, Steve, do you guys store any PDFs like invoices and stuff?
No, we don't.
Okay, so we store invoices. We've got in 4770, I believe it is, where we put a 4 in there as one of the options, and it'll pop up the invoice on the screen for us.
Correct. Right. Yep.
We
can
do that
actually
here?
do that within, yeah, absolutely.
Have you got any samples of that? Maybe tracking
it's
numbers?
part of the, yeah, it's part of the PowerPoint. So basically, you can set up your own URL statement. So basically, you can tie any button, any image, anything to a URL. So you can actually pull in engineering drawings, any of that, any PDF, real time just by doing a selection or a click on a field. And it generates that URL on the fly and pulls it in.
Okay. And
is that okay? Is that the answer?
Well, yeah, I know that they had an issue with that a while back, that they were having issues of doing that. That's why I asked if they fixed that or they can do that now.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
And with the BCD Presto license, you get a development license with that, so that if you have someone that can do that type of development, you can add these graphs and all of that stuff yourself, or you can have world class do it for you. Right?
Yeah, I mean, everything that we've done is been, we've worked through a lot of pain and suffering. Like, go ahead into a 8100, Steve. The way Presto is working is, you see that record format name under the program name? Each program has to be, or each screen has to be uniquely identified. Okay, so we massively changed all the source code. We added these lines. So we have these auto programs that are auto-loading those fields, record format names, into each screen. So we did some manipulation of the RPG screens for Presto. And the reason that we had to do that was for detection, because it wouldn't recognize a screen difference between, if it's in the same program, you had multiple screens, we had to put this in there to identify that unique screen. So that's
you
why
did that
we
for
had to
why? What was the reason for that?
each screen has to be unique. And the way that we made it unique, it wasn't just unique enough by program name. You know, even though KBM is always putting in, you know, line 1, position 73, the program name, we needed the record format name. And now there's a handful of screens where KBM actually did a real good job in staying away from that field. There's probably less than 6 or 7 screens that we had to modify to push out of that position. So we had these RPG programs that ran that said, okay, we had to overlap here. And there was less than a handful of programs that we manually had to change to put in that record format name. But we wrote RPG programs to automatically insert that code into each DDS.
Kevin, this is Charlie Brown. I'm assuming that you wrote this and made the changes with the latest release of KBM software. You know, we're a number of releases behind, so we would have to go through and do all this same stuff, then I would imagine, if there's any changes.
Yeah, I
Plus,
mean, because we would want to do, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter the release level to us because our RPG programs that were doing that, it didn't care about release. So we just ran the programs, and then we kicked out any overlapping. So we have programs that are, you know, that kicked all this out for us and told us what programs overlapped, what fields overlapped when we did this type of change. So we really don't care if you're running Data3 or KBM or anything. It doesn't matter to us. We do have to rerun everything to auto, you know, just like ChemLight has specific screens that are custom to ChemLight. You know, Ryco has specific screens custom to Ryco. So not only you get the base, but you get all your screens as well. It's immediately going into Presto immediately. Custom screens, everything.
Okay.
So the release really didn't occur to us. That, I had a question that just popped up on the screen, I think. Did somebody ask something about Android and all that? The answer is yes. It does run on Android and all your different browsers. It runs on, again, Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox. Basically, they're all there. BCD did a hell of a job here. And now you see what Steve's doing right now? He's just got his cursor over that option. Do you see that? Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, it automatically picks up these options that are listed up here.
Yeah, Janet.
Automatically,
Janet.
I put the cursor over the options. It automatically picks those up, and so you can click on those instead of having to hit the keyboard and put in 5, 7, or 11. You just click on the one you want here, and it goes right into that. Oops, I just went out of that and I didn't want to. So, Kevin, here's an F24 key that we need to get rid of.
Yeah. Yep. What we did is when we went through all the different screens that had the F24. So we automatically created all the Java scripting that had to be placed into each screen. So we've been going through and inserting that Java script to remove that F24 to make sure that that's not there. So we've been going through each screen at a time.
So what happens if you go to a menu option and that program hasn't been converted yet?
Correct. Right. It's been converted, and it displays it just as it did on the green screen. But in order to get rid of the, the F24, we had to create a JavaScript, and then basically I have an RPG program that generated all the JavaScript, and you just copy and paste it from the green screen straight into the Presto developer. So we've done everything we could automate it. So the next time that we did this, we could lower the cost.
Kevin, this is Mike Crowley. If I can just jump in for a second on that previous question.
Yep.
Yeah. With Presto, every screen is automatically converted into HTML each time you execute the program. So if there has been no customization done to a program yet, Presto still produces the HTML and presents it in what we call the out-of-the-box rendering of that screen into HTML. So it's always going to run in the browser whether a screen's been converted or not. And in most cases, a good percentage of an application screens will look great just out of the box and can be left that way. And then another percentage might be this customized approach, as you see here. Even your AS400 command screens and like work object screens and screens like that are converted. So you can stay in the browser and continue to access even your AS400 commands when Presto is installed on your machine.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Now, some things we did global, Charlie. Like in this screen here, Steve did not have to tab or hit that plus sign to move that LP3 right. He could tab or could do anything, and then automatically push that field right. So there are global functions that we put in. Functions that the function keys, things like this. The 793 combinations of function keys, we created all that JavaScript automatically for each combination. And then that way we could just cut and paste it right into Presto. So there's a lot of things that are global, and then there's some that is per screen.
So when it's doing one dynamic where you haven't done anything, will you automatically get the hover of whatever the options are?
Sometimes you do.
Look for that?
Yeah, most of the times you do. Now, we've got a couple outstanding issues with Presto on the hover. We're trying to pick up more screens automatically. Like there's some screens that never picked up that there's a subfile there. And so Presto's already come out with a new or some help there that we have not implemented yet. So we're getting ready to implement. It's right now they have different criteria on table finders. So we are working with the Presto team there. One thing I want to add about the Presto team, since we started in November and we started playing around with Presto, their team, their hotline support is good. And I mean, it's not as good as ours is, but it's good. They are very helpful. They are very helpful, and they're immediate. I mean, they just get on your system right now, and they look at it and say, this is what's happening, and this is what's causing it. And if they have a resolution, they put the code in for you. They've been stellar.
This graph that I'm showing here is the dispatch list graph for that work center, and it basically loads, these are hours, that's what this is, for each day, so our scheduling people can look at the loading of the hours on every day of the week there.
Yeah, Kevin, again, this is Mike Crowley. That's an extremely important point, I think. You said you started working with Presto at Crane in November.
Yes, that's the tail end of November.
And that includes whatever learning curve you might have had to absorb with Presto, which is easy to pick up anyway. But to accomplish all of this in a little 2 months, if you want to say even 2 months?
Yes.
So how many KBM people were working on the project?
I've had two. I've had just me and Christy working on this.
Okay.
And again, we've done it in 2 months. We feel like we're not done yet.
Right.
Now, the great thing of it is that Presto has a change management module. So we're thinking that it's going to port right on your system, Charlie. That we could port all these, we want to start off with a clean install, and you do your own, style sheets, your own skins. We can, definitely use all of our function keys and stuff like that. But you develop the Ryco banner up there, and you do all that stuff.
On Burma, what does that mean?
Repeat that.
Yeah, something about the phone over there. Some of you got low flow connection on 610.
I'm having a hard time picking
No,
it up.
Burma. 601 Burma. What does that mean? It's a fire bird. She said something about the phone. The phone. No. I she said phone. Yeah, Fanny, a lady. You know what? Good. Pull them back. Okay. Give me a pass button. I can find out exactly what is the problem. Phone problem? Phone? No, it wasn't a phone. First I got it was a phone along the line. Okay, let me pull over. I'll let you know.
We're having a hard time picking you up. Can you repeat that question, please?
Can he just type it in?
Type in a menu option?
No, type in his question.
Yeah? Yep, it will pop if somebody types in the question. Okay, let's go ahead. But when I mentioned the skin, that's where the skin is actually where it says Crane Composites up there. So that to me is the skin. And Presto gives you 3 different skins for the PC, and then they give you different skins for the phone, regardless of whether or not it's a different OS or whatever it is. So they have the different skins that applies to all your different phone types, your different operating systems. And then you put the Crane logo up there and that good stuff. And that was fairly. They use. I'm an old RPG programmer, right? So they use terms like style sheets and things like that, things that I never heard of before. But when I talked to Crane's web designers, they said, "Oh, does it use style sheets?" I said, "Yeah, that's what it uses. I don't know what that is, but that's what it uses."
Yeah.
And they understood everything that Presto was doing. So they pretty well got it whipped. I just got a question on query, on AS400 query, I think. It works great with query. So all your query Steve, go ahead and hit that that function key to show all your spool files in PDF.
Okay, Control-Alt-P.
So Steve's going to hit Control-Alt-P, and this shows him all his spool files. So when your AS400 query builds a spool file, go ahead, Steve, click on one of these bad boys. And what this does is this immediately pulls it into PDF. So you don't have to do the iSeries printer thing anymore. So when your iSeries produces that work spool file, you immediately got it in PDF. I thought that was a great add-on.
Mm-hmm.
That was, out of the 500-page manual that I read, that was just like 1 page of it. And it was at the tail end of the menu. Can it come into Excel? Only if you provide the Excel button can a spool file go into Excel. I don't know how. Hey, Mike, do you know the answers to that? I got asked, can it go into Excel instead of PDF?
Good question. That I'm not sure of.
I don't know the answer. I mean, we can create the Excel button, and it's fast to do that, and it pulls in the SQL statement. but it won't bring in a report that I know of. So I don't think it does that. I don't think it can bring a query into a report or a report into a Excel. Not to my knowledge. I can ask their technical group.
If you can do a copy, when you click the button, if you can do a copy spool file to a file in Qtemp and your query goes over that file, then it would go into Excel because it would be a database. But it would be messy. You'd have to do each one depending upon which records to include and omit.
I got you, Charlie. That's probably how we would do it if the answer is they can't take it straight into Excel. Is go ahead and just copy the spool file into an AS400 file and then pull it in. That's a good way of doing it, Charlie. So we would just have an Excel button down here at the bottom that says pull it in. I thought that was a great tool by itself, just to pull in all your reports straight into PDF, because and mainly that's what they're wanting to use.
So once I pull that report into a PDF, can I save it as a PDF? Can I email it or anything from that screen?
I think you can save it and then send it in. Then you can email it. Charlie or Steve, go ahead and click on that and do a save on it. Let's see what it does here. So this is normal PDF right here. So you can only save it as a PDF. I don't see any auto buttons to auto email it. Although we can open up email from any, green screen application by doing a link on the email addresses. I don't know how to currently pull that into an attachment. I don't know if you can do that in PDF or not. Anybody know the answer to that? If you can pull these things straight into an email? I don't know the answer to that.
We have, at Crane Composites here, we have a product called eSend. And using that, we can send spool files right to emails.
Okay.
And, yeah, Kevin, we also have Catapult, which is pretty similar, which can do that as a BCD product.
Okay, so Catapult is, BCD's got about 15 products. They got a lot of known products. So, this was the first one that we're, this was number one on the conference hit list is, make our KBM screens more, rejuvenate them. And this was the first piece. So, we're, again, based on this group here, we're happy to look at other products and start, playing with them and seeing how they can work within KBM. So we're happy to do that. If we might send out a questionnaire on, what to do next to our group that attended Chicago. Steve, did you go into accounts receivable? Did we do something in the AR?
Yeah.
Credit management, right?
Credit management, yeah, I quickly brought that up. You can see here the...
Now, you see that Excel button again? That was, you're able to click on that and take it straight, all your held orders straight into Excel. So this will take all your held orders straight in. So now, and that's a neat function. And now you can do with it whatever. You see the status over there, and basically you can tell it which fields to pull in.
So when you're clicking Excel, it's running an SQL statement. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
So I can have joins and exception joins and get all great.
Yes, so you can do joins. I'm going to show you these SQL statements on how you do a graph and how easy it is. And basically you just tie it in there. And so it's a straight SQL statement. I learned a lot about SQL this go around again. So I'm always learning new stuff that you can do in Excel. But yeah, we did joins and everything here. So for some reason, Charlie, SQL seems to be running like a bat out of hell. I mean, it is fast. You can see these graphs here.
Yep.
And we were very impressed with that it didn't slow down the green screen while it was doing the graph. You know, it's pretty slick.
If you roll back up, there was a phone number highlighted in blue.
Yes.
Is that a call link of some kind?
It is a call link. Because I have Skype on my PC, I can actually call in Skype.
Okay. And from a mobile device, will it just place the call?
You know, I don't know that.
You know what? I have not tried making a call like that, but I have pulled KBM up using Presto on my cell phone, on my iPhone, and it works.
So I assume that it would make the call, but I had not tried that yet. Sorry about that. So we found that this was a pretty good tool here, just in the credit side, to look at this. So look, if you see this file down here, this rolling 12 months, we had to create some date files. We had to create 4 or 5 different date files that, automatically rolled month. And then you would join this into the SQL statement. So it would always give you a rolling 12 months. So on the first day of the month, we run this program every day. And then on the first day of the month, it would roll up, the next month over. So we've had to add some additional files to get this type of data. And there's probably about 4 or 5 files. For example, we all know the dilemma of KBM. There's actually, when they do a stock adjustment, the screen field is actually a 08. But inside the database, it's a 10, right? Do we all know about that?
Yep.
So they actually do screen interpretation. So we had to create a database file to hold that translation between TS code and what the screen field was. So in all of our joins, if they put in the 08 on that selection criteria, it goes out to these joins and say, I need TS code of a 10. So we do this all within the SQL statements.
Question, Kevin.
Yes.
How much, if we were going to do this, what would, how much of this can we get from World Class so we don't have to redo this?
We think it's going to port very easily. This is Walt, right?
No,
this
this
is
is Dwayne.
Oh, this is Dwayne. What we do, what Presto does, is they have change management. So basically, all the files that we have created should port over to your version of KBM almost instantly. Okay. So we're thinking that it's going to be easy to port. Now, we haven't done it yet. We're going to do it. So from what I understand is that if everybody comes into BCD, we can do some pretty neat stuff as a group. And it's because it's easy to port, everybody gets the changes if you want them. So basically, we're going to send out the JavaScript, and you can just apply that JavaScript, or we can apply it, and you've got everything.